Hi, my name is Gustavo Carvalho from Contralabs, and this is how to make sprite animations with Unity 4.3 using 2D native development. So let's get started. Let's create a new project. I will make it animation sprite 2D, and here I will use nothing of this, but I will set up defaults for 2D and create a new project. So now we have this 2D option here where I can see the scene in a 2D way. We have our camera, which must be set to orthographic because we are dealing with 2D. So let's put a new sprite here. Unity 4.3 has this new kind of object called sprite, which contains the sprite render. Now we must create the image which will be used by our sprite. Let's create a folder here called sprites, and let's put our sprites here. We can put the sprites separately, or we can use a sprite sheet like this. I use this sprite sheet over here. Let's make it inside the sprites folder. This is a kind of sprite. The sprite mode is mutable because I'm using the sprite sheet, and I can open the sprite editor to choose each one of the sprites I will use it. So before this I got this warning telling me that if I use a compressed texture it will give imperfect results, so I will change the mode of compressed to true color, and filter mode I will also change to point. If you are a beginner, probably you want to use this as well, but if you are advanced you can choose better your configurations. So now open your sprite editor and let's choose here. Still got this warning because I think I did not apply this. Now that I have applied this, I can open the editor again and slices automatically using the automatic mode. I can use a minimum size here of 10 pixels because I know that every image I have is at least 10 pixels wider or taller. And the pivot point I use the bottom, and I got this slice. Here I have all my images separately sliced one by one. I can edit the options of each one, moving the pivot or the size. The pivot is this little bow where I can put whatever I want. I will leave it bottom and I will apply, and okay, now I have each one of my images separately. Now all I have to do is select my sprite object that I created here and move the selected animations frame that I want. So for now I want him to walk, so I selected this sprite and move it to animation screen. I will put a name for my animation, walking, and you save it in a new folder called animations. Save it. If you don't have this tab over here, you can open it by window, animation. Okay, so now you have this. So if you go to your scene view, you can see your sprite over here, and if you play it, it is animating, but it is too fast, so you can just adjust the speed of the animation here to 12, and now it looks better. And that is the way you do sprite animation in Unity. If you don't have a sprite sheet like this, you could use separated images and it works the same way. You just select the separate images and drag to here, and now you have your animation done. But how you can do separated animations? If you look over here in animations, it created an animator called new sprite, which controls the animations, and we have this specific animation which control the walking. So now if you go here and create a new animation, a new clip, let's say is running, I will save it here as well. Now I have a running animation, and I will configure this running animation to use these sprites over here. So now I have a running animation and I have a walking animation. Walking and running. Here again I will change the speed to 12, and now it looks better. But how can I change from one animation to another? If I open here the new sprite, I will open it in an animator window, and as you can see I have a running and I have a walking state. So the starting state or the default state is that orange one, and from here I can choose go to other states of animation. The way I can do this is making a transition, and I have to configure what makes the transitions, what conditions trigger the transition. Now I only have this condition, exit time, so when this first animation is done, it goes to the next animation. But if I use some parameter here, I could create any parameter. For example, start honey. So now that I have this parameter, I can go into the code and say that animator.setParameter start running equals true. So when the code tells the animation that start running is true, then the transition will happen. But for now, I'll just use the exit time. But let's suppose I don't want that the walking running only once, I want it running twice. So after it runs twice, the character can run. So let's test it and see if it's working or not. So now, as you can see, it's running, but I didn't see the transition. Let's start over. I think the transition from walking is too fast. But if you go really slow, you can see it starting in walking and then moves to running. And that's it. A simple way to do sprite animations with Unity 4.3. Bye.